There's a gentleman called Ben Chicho in the far north who runs one of the development corporations up there. He gave a talk at Thunder Bay and he said the Indians' problem has been identified as being a social and a cultural problem. He disagreed with that, and so do I. We figure if the Indian was employed, gainfully employed, with a goal in sight at every year, maybe 5-year goals, he wouldn't have the social and cultural problems.
The reality of the situation right now is the average person on reserve is looking for ways and means to survive.
I think what's happened is similar to what happens in third world countries where there's been devastation, where everything has been disrupted. All the social structures have been disrupted. So now you're in a particular zone where there's no development.
Native Canadians are heiring a legacy of broken promises. Our rich heritage has been reduced to survival, subsisting within boundaries defined by lack of jobs, money, and prospects. But there's hope. Amongst all this, there's a very dynamic sector of the Native population who are doing things to make money to support themselves and their families at the grassroots level. These people and their small businesses are being supported by a unique program operated by the Calmeadow Foundation.
It's different. This is not a government program. It's ideas that these guys are dreaming up, and we're supporting each other on them.
Calmeadow's formula is to tap the rich vein of resources already available. Individuals who have, out of necessity, started what is in essence a small business. Micro-enterprise. The business of putting yourself to work because there's not enough jobs to go around, selling your wares, your skills, or your labor to friends and neighbors at prices and quantities they can afford. Economic survival through determination. Unfortunately, determination alone cannot buy the supplies or pay marketing costs. Without collateral, financial records, cash flow projections, etc., formal lending institutions won't give the Canadian Native person a second thought.
Our problem has been in going to that institution in Little Current and telling the bank manager there, and he doesn't have a ghost of an idea what all the things we're doing. All he sees is this Indian guy sitting over here asking him for $1,500 to support his little business, and he says, "Big deal, what am I going to do?"
Well, I could have a lot of land, and a $90,000 house. To the bank, it's no good because it's situated on a reserve, To them, it ain't worth one penny.
Calmeadow's strategy is to provide access to affordable credit directly to the people who need it. It is to this end they have created the Native Self-Employment Loan Program. The program has set up micro-enterprise loan funds in 3 Ontario reserves: Wikwemikon on Manitoulin Island, Kettle Point in southern Ontario, and Sachigo Lake in the remote north. To qualify for a loan, a person must simply join or form a borrower circle of 4 to 7 micro-entrepreneurs. The circle members guarantee each other's loans, knowing that future loans will depend on the first loan being repaid on time. It is important to note that the money does not simply go directly from Calmeadow to the borrowers. There is a local administrator and community advisory committee made up of persons from the community, which acts as a middle stage to ensure that funds are dispensed properly and fairly to those most in need.
I didn't have any money to start with, to start a little business of my own. So if it wasn't for Calmeadow, I probably wouldn't have had enough enough money to start something.
Like the first loan, $1,000. I needed almost $1,000 right away to get my truck fixed. And come in really handy.
Well, mine is to help finance producing art cards.
My goal is to extend my little shop, better organized and bring it up to where I want it to be.
The first one was I bought a dough mixer and the other one meat slicer.
For the system to work properly, there must be cooperation among Calmeadow, the borrower circles, the community, and the banks which actually dispense the funds. Calmeadow's guarantee has suddenly made these native micro-enterprises bankable propositions.
Our risk is minimal or next to nil, and we are connected and backed by Calmeadow, and virtually we have no risk.
And I see them as a bank that's really identified with the Indian and his problems and is trying to help them, maybe not in their policies, but in their own personal commitments.
And their own personal commitments have now turned into business commitments. In Kettle Point, Jim and Wilma George, the owners of an upholstery shop in their own home, have now been able to get a direct loan from the bank due to their proven credit worthiness as shown in the Calmeadow experience. They now have the money to move into their new building. The Native Self-Employment Loan Program is aimed at reaching the smallest of enterprises, many of which are family businesses operated by women. 1/2 of all borrowers are women. Some are single mothers with no transportation, no job, dependent on social assistance, who yet may be eking out an existence by doing extra work, babysitting, sewing, crafts, haircutting, catering, takeout foods. As the success of the loan program grows and spreads by word of mouth, more women are slowly coming forward to participate. In areas where lack of jobs often force people to leave the community in search of work, micro-enterprises not only help to keep families together, they also stimulate an economic ripple effect that is felt throughout the community, generating jobs and recirculating income. And perhaps this recirculation of income is the most important aspect of the loan program. Right now, when a person in a specific community receives a paycheck or welfare check, most of that money is never spent in that community. He or she will travel to the nearest town to purchase goods or services. If through the loan program, those goods can be made available in that community, then a real economy can begin to be established and the money recirculated within that community. Another product of the Native Self-Employment Loan Program has been communication. The borrower circles serve as a forum where members can discuss their problems and come up with practical solutions for each other.
What are you carrying?
Well, we got this little store and the snack bar.
Store, snack bar? What do you mean? 이거랑 food or chocolate bars?
No chocolate bars, no. No gum. Oh yeah, I think I got one gum.
Place for my kids to go. No gum.
Micro-enterprise support programs in other countries have shown that jobs can be created for a fraction of the cost of typical government-sponsored job creation programs. Until now, there has never been any effort at this type of micro-enterprise support in Canada. The success of the loan program and the enthusiasm with which it has been received will hopefully change that situation. While the program is basically an economic development initiative, perhaps the most important byproduct is the self-respect which comes from building a successful micro-enterprise.
It's something that a person as an individual has got to perceive himself in order to be successful in life, you know, and a measure of, you know, he doesn't have to be driving a Cadillac or anything, but I mean, providing a good living, and he has to have a business sense, and he takes pride in, Terrence takes pride in what he does, Leland takes pride in what we all do.
When the young people see the success of these businesses, they're less likely to leave the reserve because of lack of opportunity, and more likely to begin informal apprenticeships so that they will be in a position to one day run their own small business. The Calmeadow Foundation is committed to bring more resources from the private sector to support Native micro-entrepreneurs. By doing so, they will hopefully enable the participants in the loan program to pass on to their children a new legacy of opportunity and pride. And most importantly, something to look forward to, dreams of a better tomorrow.
And my first loan was $1,000, and that's where I bought all the stuff that I needed to start the restaurant stuff, for instance. You know, like the stock, I had to stock it up. And I paid that back. Now I'm on the second loan. Probably go to the third loan if I have to.
The Native Self-Employment Loan Program through the Calmeadow Foundation is committed to working with our Native communities, enabling them to prosper through micro-enterprise. Small businesses and Native communities have a problem. The problem is money, startup money, expansion money, operating money. The same kind of money every business in every major city needs. But in the case of the Native business person, this money is not easy to come by. Where do we go to gain access to institutional credit? Until recently, there was no place to go. But now, an organization called the Calmeadow Foundation has started the Native Self-Employment Loan Program.
Next year, we hope to have a larger or bigger business.
I guess it has helped me, like, I'm not working as hard having those machines, right? And the business certainly has increased.
And a bigger shop for more repairs, eh? 'Cause this isn't big enough. This can barely hold all my tools, eh?
These people have all benefited from Calmeadow's loan program, and there are many others who qualify for this type of financial support. This video will explain exactly what the Native Self-Employment Loan Program is and how it works. We'll show you the step-by-step procedures involved in obtaining a loan and answer the important questions regarding the program itself.
How does the Native Self-Employment Loan Program work?
First of all, Calmeadow, with the local administration office, holds a community information meeting and orientation session. People who are interested in obtaining a loan form themselves into groups of 4 to 7 people called borrowing circles. These circle members guarantee each other's loans and decide who will get the first 2 loans. This is important because in order for future loans to be received, the first loans must be repaid on time. The circle holds regular meetings at which time the loan payments are made. If after 2 months all payments have been made successfully, the next 2 members of the circle get their money, then the next 2, and so on until all circle members have received their loans. It's important to note that there's also a community advisory committee which reviews and approves the borrower circles, as well as acting as a middle step between Calmeadow and the actual borrowers.
Fix the fence, buy a few goats, my horses, feed for my horses. It's operating cash for now.
And what's yours?
Well, I'm interested in getting a
building a little pop shop, more or less like a confectionery, and just an ordinary items, cigarettes and pops and all that.
Well, mine is to help finance producing art cards.
Who can borrow money from the Native Self-Employment Loan Program?
Firstly, you must be over 18 years old and have some business experience. Now, some of you may not consider yourself business people, but even the smallest backyard operation could qualify. At least 50% of all borrowers must be women, and all must come from low-income households.
It's something that a person as an individual has got to perceive himself in order to be successful in life, you know, and a measure of, you know, he doesn't have to be driving a Cadillac or anything, but I mean, providing a good living, and he has to have a business sense, and he takes pride in, Terrence takes pride in what he does, Leland takes pride in what we all do.
How much money can you borrow from the program?
A first loan can be from $100 to $1,000. The second loan can be up to $1,500. The third loan up to $2,000. And the fourth and subsequent loans of up to $3,000. But there's nothing to say that you have to take out the larger loans. Some people may just want to stick to the small loans.
I borrowed $1,000 for my painting business, and I want to expand, and I'm going to go back for some more later on.
When and how do you pay back the loan?
Loans are given for 3, 6, and 12-month periods, and installments should be in equal amounts. For example, if $600 is borrowed for 6 months, $50 plus interest should be paid back every 2 weeks.
How do the borrower circles work?
Of the 4 to 7 circle members, it is strongly recommended that at least 2 have more than 1 year of business experience. Immediate family members cannot belong to the same circle, and all circles are considered pre-groups until they complete all the orientation sessions and are approved by the advisory committee. The circle itself operates on a consensus basis. Each circle elects the chairperson and the secretary, who is responsible for keeping records of the business meetings. These positions are held for 1 year and then rotated among all circle members. Circle meetings are held regularly, at which time loan payments are made and collected by the chairperson, who then forwards the monies to the local administrator. It is important for everyone to understand that they are all in this together. Their successes and failures are shared equally. And if a person does not feel that he or she will work well under these conditions, they should not join a circle. The circle's strength lies in its cooperation and mutual support. Circle meetings provide an opportunity to discuss problems and come up with solutions, to share ideas and information.
It's a lot easier this time because every 2 weeks when we first borrowed the first $1,000, we had to pay $100 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now I took it for 1 year, which makes it much more easier.
What is your involvement with the bank?
Although the bank is the institution which dispenses the funds, it is still the borrower circle to which the member is directly responsible. The bank loan officer can be invited to circle meetings or loan fund meetings, but are not involved in the day-to-day business dealings of the group members. It is a good idea to begin a relationship with the bank directly for future needs witnessed by the case of this furniture upholstery business in Kettle Point. After the successful experience with their Calmeadow loan, Jim and Wilma George were able to approach the Toronto Dominion Bank directly with their needs for expansion and have now received their own loan through the bank. If a borrower is having a difficult time making his or her payments on time, the loan can be rescheduled for up to 12 months. However, the member will have to pay a fee. If a circle member does go into default, then it is up to the other members of the circle to reimburse the loan fund, and no one in the circle can receive further loans until all payments are back on schedule. Lastly, and most importantly, it must be understood that default means you are not eligible for any further loans.
Who actually administers the loan fund in a community?
In the case of a reserve community, the administrator usually works for the local development corporation or is on staff with the band's economic development office. In other situations, the administrator is a staff person for a local development organization. The administrator works closely with the Community Advisory Committee.
What is the Community Advisory Committee?
The Community Advisory Committee is the group between Calmeadow and the actual borrowers. The committee understands the needs of the community and acts as a governing body. It is made up of community representatives and chairpersons of the borrower circles. The major function of the advisory committee is to approve the borrower circles and make sure that the money from the loan fund is reaching individuals, and especially women from low-income households. Let's again review the step-by-step procedure of the loan process.
1. Business person contacts the loan fund administrator. 2. Loan fund administrator refers business person to group orientation session. 3. Business person forms circle with other members or joins existing circle. 4. Circle applies to Community Advisory Committee. 5. Circle is approved or disapproved. 6. If approved, circle decides who gets loan first. 7. Individual completes loan application which is reviewed by circle and loan fund administrator. 8. Loan agreement is drawn up with loan fund administrator. Commercial rates of interest are charged. 9. Borrower uses loan for business within 7 days. 10. Business person makes loan payments at circle meetings.
Calmeadow's Native Self-Employment Loan Program is designed to overcome Native people's lack of access to institutional credit, but it is by no means a handout. It's the borrowers themselves who will make a success or failure of the program based upon their own efforts and abilities. If successful, the loan program will establish a healthy local economy and ensure that money recirculates within the community to help more and more small businesses thrive and more Native people to prosper.
The first loan of $1,000, I needed almost $1,000 right away to get my truck fixed. And come in really handy.
We didn't have that kind of money to go out and buy $500-600 worth of stuff, you know, to use in the restaurant. And we got it through Calmeadow, and we got started that way.
It's different. This is not a government program. It's ideas that these guys are dreaming up, and we're supporting each other on it. That's the basic difference, that you're free to do, although it's a very small pot, you're free to do whatever you want.
What we have is Calmeadow guaranteeing our loan.
If you would like more information on Calmeadow's Native Self-Employment Loan Program, please contact the Calmeadow Foundation, Suite 2000, 95 Wellington Street West, Toronto, Ontario.